actually, our attorney talked to me after the town council meeting, specifically talking about security concerns. So yeah, so I think it's something for us to talk about further.
No, yeah, that's not, I wasn't even talking security, I'm talking about, things that are, not that you don't wanna see, but things that aren't necessarily meant for live public feed.
Okay. I did want to show just a couple of videos, if you hadn't been down to the site at all. This is the north end yesterday. Some work going on there. But where it's very dramatic, this is over at the Norton site. The clearing that's been taking place there is just tremendous.
Where are you standing?
I'm standing right at the edge of the blacktop to the right-hand side over by Norton School.
So you're on school property, you're not at the street, you're at the school property.
I'm on school property behind the building, looking out at the field. And then I walked over to the other side of the building, which is where this one, oh no, that's the wrong one. Yeah, this is over at the, in fact, you can see the corner of the building there. This is over the other side. My wife said we should save those, and incorporate them somehow.
Probably good. Yeah, I was just gonna say, you're probably good.
So just, I was, amazed when I got over there and saw how much had been done already. And then, just very quickly, this is some of what Mike has been doing.
That's awesome.
And these are on the school district site. There are, I think, about 6 of them. I just picked out the last one here to show this evening. So you can kind of keep an eye on what's going on and see the process.
That was on the Facebook page?
It's on the school district's site where it has school modernization. You go there and now there's a button that specifically says drone footage or something. But I made a connection now onto our Facebook page also, so that you can get to that site.
Cool, thank you, that's awesome.
Good.
Nice job, whoever's flying that.
Nice job, Mike.
Architect update.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Fairly modest update today, as we've mostly been, since the holiday break and since we last met, have been participating in scope review meetings. So those are listed under the meetings held. Multiple meetings a day. The design team is participating in these scope review meetings with O&G. At the last meeting, we did mention the ceiling alternate. So as part of your packet, we had provided some reflected ceiling plans. The areas highlighted in red are the areas that are in question of where we have a base bid and an alternate. And I'll explain the rationale here. As you recall, at the end of schematic design, when we were evaluating the budget and had some budget overages at the time, we selected the linear wood ceiling as an alternate to incorporate into the bid documents. So we have areas throughout both buildings that have this wood deck, okay? So in the areas of our canopies, our media centers, and our cafeterias, we have this wood deck that's part of the ceiling finish within the space, okay?
So when you say, so how much of the ceiling is that? That's the whole ceiling looks
The
like that?
whole ceiling.
Oh,
This is a structural wood deck that's at a thickness that complies with the fire ratings that are required for our construction type, okay? So the reason why we're bringing this is because this is already in your buildings, and we've selected some areas as part of the alternate where we are intending to incorporate some of that wood, that natural wood feel. So for the areas that are highlighted in red, the base bid is a tegular beveled acoustic ceiling panel, which is not unlike the ceiling that we're in here.
2x4s?
6 inches by 48 inches.
6 inches.
So it's a little bit of a different look in those areas anyway. We figured as a base bid, you know, we could still provide some differentiation for the ceilings in those areas. So that is what's in the base bid for both projects in the areas that are highlighted in red. So areas along Main Street, or areas along a public corridor at both North End and Norton, and areas at the breakout spaces that are kind of in the knuckles between the small learning communities. In both locations, we have grade levels at the end of the corridor where we turn the corner, we open up the exterior wall, let some natural light in, and kind of widen the corridor so that becomes kind of a breakout space or an area that students can have peer-to-peer, small group settings, etc. We have some technology infrastructure there so that we can put presentation material on the wall there. We can use it as a breakout space. In those areas, the alternate is this still hung from the ceiling, but a wood finish. There's an acoustical felt that is in between the panels, and this ends up being simply hung in those spaces. So while this is not a direct match, the intent is to have the natural wood look in those areas, and that's what we had been showing in some of our renderings and discussed with the NGSBC during the design process. Now, the reason why that is, we brought it up at the December meeting. We put it as an item for us to review with the committee at this meeting. The add alternate to include the wood ceiling for Norton is $58,895, and for North End is $48,527. So that's yes.
Question for you to clarify or get a little more granular on that. Is that for the ceiling and the ceiling installer to put in that ceiling, or does that include difficulty or ease of light fixtures and running other things on there, because your electrician's going to have more cost and that sort of, at least I think so, maybe not, but
Yes.
one of them has to be more.
The answer is yes.
It does include
Yeah,
the whole
because
shoot match?
They're the only ones that priced it. Electricians had the opportunity to give a number and they didn't. So they didn't see it as an additional cost. So if you accept the alternate, they have to do the revised lighting or whatever it is that they gotta do for no cost.
Okay. Now,
Fire protection,
does
lighting,
the-
HVAC, all that stuff.
Does the lighting design change? In other words, different fixtures?
No, we're still incorporating, I believe, the linear fixtures in those areas.
That's the way it looks.
So you wouldn't be revising plans for anything else other than to say the material of the ceiling is different?
Correct.
So that they can't hit us up and say, well, you changed it.
Correct.
And you'll hold their feet to the fire, right, well.
Yeah, it was already designed, they've already designed it, it was in the bid documents of what to include for the alternate.
Dr. Solon did ask me to let you know that he and some of his staff have taken a look and like the wood much better. His comment was the wood looks infinitely better. So I am sharing that with you.
Dennis, can you, as an architect, can you, I'm an electrical engineer, all right? I'm way out of my zone with aesthetics and the realistic functional aspects of it, but can you give me your opinion on it from the way you look at things? Because to me, I've already expressed, I couldn't tell you the ceiling in the hallway that I just walked through a minute ago.
That's because they wanted wood.
Or maybe it was, I have no idea.
So this is a good illustration, right? So what you're doing with the ceiling is you're adding to the definition of the spaces that create the knuckle. So it's not only two-dimensional, now it's three-dimensional. So, in my mind, the way Justin explained it, we had basically take this out as an alternate because of cost. It was always part of the design. So now that we have the bids back, we're reasonably comfortably under the budget. In my mind, this needs to go back into the design.
Do you feel that that's a good value and a good thing
Yeah.
from your point? I'm just looking for somebody removed from,
Think in terms of, I mean, even if it's $58,000 or $60,000, we're probably gonna end up with about 40% reimbursement. So we pay 60% of the $60,000, $36,000 for me to do this, adds value to it,
okay, that's what I'm asking. It does add a real value from,
definitely.
it's not just a nice aesthetic, you
No.
see, okay. That's, I needed to hear that from,
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine with it.
You have acoustic tiles though in the rest of the school,
Yes,
right?
yep.
So you're walking down the hall, you have acoustic tile, and then currently in the base, you have a different tile in
It's
there
just-
right now.
Yeah, it's a differentiation
So
of the
going from
pattern.
like something like squares or something like
Yeah.
this to something that's already different. So it already looks like a separated area.
It's different in it's not different in the materiality, but it's just different in the way that the patterning and the spacing, so,
It's not different in the color either.
yeah.
I get where we're coming from with it. Was included in the base and we took it out because we didn't have the budget. But we also didn't have the budget to just put this in 25 more locations, but we're under budget, so why not just do that too? That's where I'm coming from, is we saved that 50,000, why not keep that, or 60,000, why not keep that 60,000 in our pocket versus spend it? Because we already, I said that it looked great the way it was with the base bid of these 6-inch acoustic tiles. Why not keep it that way? We're spending it just to make it go back to what it was before. I don't see the value if we said it was okay. the way
But
it was.
you could say that about a lot of the detailing that goes into the main spaces. You know, why do we have sculptured walls? Why don't we just paint everything the same color? You know, it takes away from the vibrancy of the building.
But we valued that more than we did these tiles when we took it out of the bid initially.
That was an easy takeout.
We have done things throughout the building, in the media center, cafeteria, gymnasium, to make these spaces unique and special. My feeling is these breakout spaces at the end of the hallways also could be made to look unique and special. I think it's the sort of thing where you look at a building 10, 15 years from now and you say, this is a quality building. It's a small thing. I don't think it's an outrageous amount of money. I personally would like to see us do it.
I mean, I was the one that initially pushed to keep it on, I think, for the aesthetics of it, so I haven't changed my opinion on that.
Other comments?
Laurel, does the no better change?
Yes, in North End, not in Norton. It doesn't matter, it's either one's qualified to do it, so it's not a determining factor.
So we could do a separate vote now, or we could wait till we come up with the bid. But because it affects the actual bidder,
For North End, yes.
I think we need to have a separate vote right now.
The low bidder for what? Just the
North
ceiling
End.
system?
Yeah, just the ceiling system, it will change whether or not you accept the alternate.
So I'm looking for a motion. We would need to do one for each school.
I'll make a motion to use the alternate wood ceiling system as the take-up spaces for the north end.
You're voting to accept alternate one.
Yes. Thank you.
Second?
I thought that's what I said.
Second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? 4 to 1. A motion for
Same alternate.
alternate one for Norton.
What Laurel said for Norton.
It's alternate one also there. Okay. A second? Once again, any conversation, discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Okay. Anything else?
The only other thing that I just want to mention, just so the committee's aware, is we've been asked by the schools to coordinate a presentation to the Norton 6th grade class, who will be going through an Earth and Human Activity Science unit. So there was some interest in the geothermal system that is being installed at both schools. So we're working with Kohler Ronan to have kind of a elementary school level presentation and discussion with these.
Right?
Yeah, I know,
He's done it 3-4 times already.
I know,
Perfect.
I know, and he teaches at Yale, so, but.
Working with 6th graders might be a little
Of
bit
course,
different.
trust me, I coach from 5-year-olds to 8th graders, and, yeah, there's a gamut there, but so we're working on that. It's a nice thing to see interest, in the schools, about what's going on around them, so.
I don't know if you saw when I was opening up the Facebook page, there was a visitation by Norton students to go out to see the construction that was going on. So, yeah, I think the students are very, very interested in what's happening.
I had a question.
Sure.
That came from Dr. Solon, or where'd that come from?
That was the Norton 6th grade science teacher that asked the superintendent, who then asked Rich, who then asked me, and who then asked Kohler Ronan, so.
Just the schools as a whole, both that and the North End School, are for the town.
Yep.
So it seems prudent that we kind of do it for all the elementary schools, not
Yeah.
just Norton Elementary. So I mean, there's 3 others.
Well, in this particular case, it was asked by
It was
them.
tied to
But-
a unit.
Yeah,
We're certainly happy to do it.
But if-
We're responding to an ask
Yeah.
from the district, so.
Yeah.
So maybe it's a question for Dr. Solon, but
right. We'll
the
let him
units
know.
aren't specific to schools. I mean, they teach the same thing there, they teach everywhere else in town, so.
And this isn't something that is, I don't believe this was in the original contract to make presentations, but this
Right.
isn't something that's extra, correct?
Look,
It's not a
we'll
monster.
take a picture and post it on LinkedIn, and we'll get the marketing mileage out of it, so don't worry about that. We do this all the time. I'm working on a project in Madison
That was one of the reasons why we hired them, is you
Yeah.
guys sold that. You talked about
Did we?
that.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
it's
did
just-
talk about that.
Note to self, keep
Engaging
that.
with the students.
No, we
and-
just, I'm working on
It would
elementary
be a meeting if
school.
I opened my mouth and people got pissed off and said I should have said what I said. I mean,
It's all part of,
question.
it's all part of business development for us, you know, I'm working on a project in Madison, we just had the high school architectural technologies, CTE programs on the job site, we walked them around the site. That's likely something that down the road when have, you know, a steel frame up or doing some rough in, that collectively there will be interest on the high school kids that may have an interest in a career to come out and walk through it. So, yeah, we do this type of stuff all the time.
Okay. CM, phase one equipment status.
Yeah, we're still going through the final submittal process on the switch gear and switchboards. We did get pricing finally from the manufacturer, from Snyder Electric, on the ads that were made through the phase two documents, but to the phase one equipment. So those numbers went out to the group, I think yesterday. I think Ryan sent those out. So we'll take a look at those and then release them on those equipment changes.
Are we okay on the schedule with that stuff?
Yeah.
Are we
Yeah.
still under for the allowance?
We are, from the numbers I saw this morning, I think we were under on Norton, we were slightly over on North. But we did send those over to the team, so.
And I kicked them to Kohler Ronan.
Yeah.
On one, there's no cost change.
Yeah, right.
On the other, we're slightly over the allowance. So that's what Kohler Ronan is looking at right
Yeah.
now.
Okay, any other comments? No? Phase two construction, an update?
You showed some great pictures there, so obviously, you know, we mobilized on both projects. Tree clearing is kind of the emphasis of the work right now, especially at Norton. We have full-time supervision on both projects now. Our superintendents are fully engaged in the jobs, working with Richards. Richards really is the only contractor right now that's mobilized. The concrete contractor will be mobilizing probably within the next week or two on North, as we get ready for foundations. That'll be a few weeks ahead of the Norton site for foundation work.
They're doing the
Yes.
building permit, that was the
Yeah,
other
we're in
thing
the,
they're doing,
yeah,
working
we're in the
on.
process of getting the building permit submitted and finalized. I think we're in pretty good shape there. I think maybe one letter that the town is looking for right now from.
That is correct, and
Yeah. But everything else has been.
I asked
Oh,
Ryan, he
goodness.
said that we hadn't gotten any serious concerns from neighbors or anything, that we
No.
have passed out the brochures
We
that were
did the
there.
good neighbor policy or
Yeah.
the pamphlet, we did pass those out to the neighbors and.
You know, as I was walking the site today, obviously there's a lot of equipment going, and you can hear it from all over the neighborhood, so I'm just assuming that neighbors knew this was coming and have been pretty tolerant of it so far.
Didn't Brian walk around the whole, or one of them, I thought the superintendent did those at P&Ls.
They did.
Okay.
Brian did that at Norton.
Yeah,
I don't know if the flowers went around to the North residents yet. They should have.
What are the active hours on site?
I want to say it's 7 to 3:30.
Yeah, I was there 2 days ago at about 3:45 or so, and there were just a couple of last minute
Guys, just
cleanups.
pick it up then,
and
yeah.
And that was it. Today I was there about 1 o'clock. That's when I shot these, so you can see there was a lot going on at that time.
At the risk of asking something that I shouldn't ask, or not saying wrong, or that people get mad at me for, at 7 AM, I know there are some activities that are just, you know, normal activities, and then there are others that are, I'll say, noisy. Is everything fair game at 7 AM?
7 a.m. the engines start, so, yeah.
as long as it complies with the noise ordinance in town.
Yeah, right.
I don't think there is. I've read enough forum complaints about that.
Really? It's safe.
I'm just thinking like,
It's a-
and again, to just for illustrative purposes only, if there was, say, illustrative only, If there was blasting, for instance, would we be doing that at 7 a.m. because all fair game, or would we be somewhat conscious of the fact
No,
that
I
we
think
know we're
we-
gonna wake the whole world up and let's wait a while?
I think in that particular case, we'd probably wait till
Kind of
later
like
in the
good
day,
neighbor
but,
for obviously extra loud things or jackhammering or things that
Well
are.
drilling will
But-
probably be loud.
I was gonna say, well drilling is
They're not
probably,
gonna wait until 8,
Yeah.
I'm sure they're gonna get
No,
started.
as soon as the
Yeah.
rig is ready to go, they'll start.
But that's a short-term activity, you know, a couple months.
Who's doing the wells? Simon?
I think Connecticut
no,
Wells.
Simon, cause Simon called me and wanted to know who got the
Yeah, I
bid.
think it's Connecticut
So
Wells.
they did the test
They did
wells.
the test wells, yeah. But they were under the site contractor and whoever the site contractor was gonna carry.
I might also say vibratory steamrolling when you get to that point. Maybe you don't wanna do that at 7 a.m. because that's gonna wake everybody up.
Didn't you say there was a
Possible.
neighbor that was complaining at the north end?
Yeah, we're on
There
camera.
was.
Yeah.
About,
Yeah. Yeah, there was one minor concern.
Again, if there's something in the schedule that we could adjust, if we are getting a complaint from a certain neighbor, we'll look at it, but right now, the way the contract's written is, they're allowed to start at 7 a.m. and work till 3:30.
I guess what I would say is if there are some abilities to not affect the productivity of construction, but to shift some things that would wake somebody up legally, maybe we can push those off an hour or two to be somewhat good neighborly. Because a contract or not, you wake somebody up that doesn't, an hour early, it's annoying. And I'm thinking just adults, let alone young children, and, that don't go back to sleep so easily, so. Just be mindful.
it'd be the teenagers and college students that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanna know whose young children are sleeping past 7, because they're not
Like
mine.
just made a face.
Laurel,
Okay.
all yours, bids.
All right, so last time when we had our meeting, we separated, we did a packet for North End and a packet for Norton, so I'm gonna do it the same way. I only brought a couple of copies of the bid results, they're available if anybody wants to see them. I had my originals for Sean to sign, but he's not here. Who can, we'll wait till after the end, so let's just take care of.
I don't know if he's in the building or not, he didn't
North
mention.
first.
He may be upstairs, yeah.
Here's North End packet first. While that's going around, we'll do this too. So this is a thing that's gonna be changing all the way till the GMP is done, this contract summary sheet. So this is the one you're gonna wanna pay attention to, because that savings that you thought you had at Norton has come down some. So I try to be a little more conservative in the beginning so people don't get too excited, but. So this is a double-sided sheet, so we have North End and Norton's. This is the snapshot of kind of where things are financially, so if we can stay on the North End side. And we did not change at all financially on North End. North End is exactly in the same boat it was when we were here on the 19th, because I had already been carrying Steel Tech Building Products for 2.05M, because I thought that there was gonna be an issue with the two lower bids, and it turns out there was. They had both withdrawn their bids. I was always carrying J&B Mechanical. Trying to think of what else changed, or what other shakeups. There wasn't too many shakeups on North End. It was Norton that got the most shakeups based on our scope reviews. So when we go through so we're in the same number that we were carrying last time. Okay, so that's the same number that we're under.
Really?
Yeah, isn't it? Oh, I know, on both, on both. We're gonna scope them
We
again now.
haven't scoped them yet, though.
We scoped them for North End, we're gonna
Okay.
scope them again for Norton, but we're gonna drum up some North End issues again, and we're gonna scope them again.
What are you talking about?
The 2.07R. He's low on both. So, yeah. So we're not done with him. And I don't remember what the difference, let me just see what the difference was in price to go to the next bidder at North End. He's low on both. It's about 200,000, about 240,000. To go to Greenwood Industries was second. We're not,
Per building or?
that's
Oh,
just North End,
just
that's
North End,
just
okay.
North End. So we're not done vetting him. Alright, so, this is, the contract summary has not changed, we have a little packet. These are the guys that we need next, the rest we're gonna wait until the GMP. So the bid packages that we're going to be looking at are the waterproofing, air barrier, and sealants. And the reason they're critical is because it's a damp proofing that goes against the foundation. So we're gonna be starting foundations, we need to be able to backfill. This has to go on, so they're critical. And I'm just gonna whip through the list of them for now. Aluminum windows, entrances, and metal panels. This will be the same for Norton as far as the criticality, the same list. Windows take 16 weeks to get after shop drawings are approved. Takes a while to get shop drawings done, then they gotta get approved, then you gotta order them, so we don't wanna be waiting around for windows. Food service equipment is critical. You'd think it wouldn't be because it's the kitchen, it's not getting installed until, 3 months before the building is done. However, the rough-in coordination is very critical for us, and that's something that we wanna be managing in the beginning. And then we have our MEPs. These are for our above ceiling coordination. We did not scope any of the low voltage, the communications security yet. That's in our next round. That's coming up. So we have fire protection, that's your sprinklers. We have plumbing, we have HVAC, and we have electrical. So that's the list for North End. And when we get to Norton, it's gonna be the same list, except it's also gonna include the drywall and the general trades that you guys already approved last time for North End. I need to get Norton up to speed, because when I was here last time for North End, we had 5 and only 3 for Norton, so I need to get those other 2. So with that being said, I'll back it up, and I'll start at the beginning, which is 2.07A, waterproofing, air barrier, and sealants. And it's the low bidder, it's Armani Restoration. Do you wanna do them one at a time, or what do you wanna do for?
Take them one at a time.
Okay, so then I gave you the bid results, so you can see how the bids came in.
So what you presented to us last time was before you did all your final scoping, and this is after scoping? Because
What I presented last time is who I scoped at that time. I did a whole round right before Christmas, and then as soon as we came back from the holidays, I did this round, and then I got my 3rd round coming up, starting on the 22nd. We got a whole bunch of days.
So
Got
you did
20
what?
more to get through.
Did 5 last time, 7 this time.
We did 5 for North End in
3
December.
for
That was
Norton.
site, concrete, steel, general trades, and drywall. And you did 3 for Norton, because I just gotten the bids in that week.
that we voted on.
Yes,
But you also presented some other information that we didn't vote on.
I don't remember.
which-
We had this
Which
sheet
would have been
filled
additional.
out,
Oh,
but
yeah,
everything
yeah.
that was in here was just the low bidder for the ones that we didn't vote on last time.
Last time I had a couple of second bidders in there, because I was nervous, and they're the ones that have, I didn't scope Steel Tech, but the other 2 withdrew already. Like, that's a fact.
I noticed some things on the MEP side look different than I recall. so
Okay,
that's
on
why
North End, I'm pretty sure North End stayed the
I
same.
think North End.
It would, you think it was North End? Because I think everybody's the same as what I presented last time for North End. It's Norton that blew up in our faces.
Well, let's take these one at a time,
Okay.
and if we have any concerns or questions, we can bring them up as we get into those.
Okay, so when you
Going
flip
all
this
over.
over, you'll see there's your bid results. It's your low bidder. They were scoped. And oh, by the way, Trinity, what we present on Norton, was second.
So we're looking for a motion to approve Armani Restoration Incorporated for the sum of $449,000
That bid package on North End, yep.
for 2.07A waterproofing, air barrier, and sealants. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Do we have a second? Chuck? Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? 5-0. Moving on.
Okay, next is bid package 2.08, aluminum windows, storefronts, and metal panels. The lowest bidder is Cherry Hill Glass. They were the low bidder. Okay, we've scoped them. They have everything covered.
So we're looking for a motion to approve Cherry Hill Glass for $4,527,163.
So
Bid
moved.
Package 2.08.
So moved.
Chris?
Second.
Dennis? Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? And 5-0.
The next one is bid package 2.11, food service equipment. The name that's on here is not matching the bid results, but that was my fault. I did a wrong name in the bid results. It's Singer MA LLC, doing business as Singer Kittredge. And their numbers, the 451, they are the low bidder, they're also a low bidder on both schools.
So this is correct, but this is
Yes.
not.
Well, the name, the way I
Oh,
wrote
okay,
the
oh,
name
it's on
is
the
not
back.
correct.
It's not correct,
Well,
okay.
yeah, because they have a different name now.
But what we're
Singer
voting
M-
on here on
is
this sheet was correct.
Singer, M-A-L-L-C, D-B-A, Singer Kittredge.
Okay.
What, forgive me, they're the designer, the provider, installer, or they're just the equipment provider, or?
They're the equipment provider and installer. So they're gonna buy all the parts and pieces, food service, and then they're gonna install them.
Okay, so we're looking for a motion for Singer M.A. LLC DBA Singer Kittredge for $451,214.
So moved.
Yes, second, Dennis. Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Unanimous.
Next is bid package 2.21 fire protection. This is all the sprinklers in the building. For AL Fire Protection LLC, they're the low bidder, $644,000. We scoped them, they have the project covered, and even though they are low,
Motion?
So moved.
I move, Chris.
Second.
Dennis? Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? 5-0.
okay, next is plumbing, 2.22, J&D Mechanical Contractors LLC. Their bid is $2,685,500. You will see that they are the low as far as the pure plumbing. The rest of the story, though, is there was a combination bid that we had received from Ferguson Mechanical. And if you take Ferguson's HVAC number and, or if you take this HVAC number and J&B's Mechanical's number, it's actually in excess of Ferguson Mechanical's combination bid, which I completely forgot to bring that result with me. But Ferguson is already getting HVAC for North End, they're getting the electrical for North End, they're getting the plumbing and HVAC for Norton. And this is also the one that gave the protest about it wasn't fair the way that he submitted his bid. So we scoped him, he has the scope, and
We'll be clear on that. Who protested and who said?
J&B Mechanical protested Ferguson's combination bid because of the way that it was presented. He had merely written it on his HVAC number. He said, here's my combination, not a separate combination
Formal
bid
submission.
formally, right? So then he protested, that wasn't fair to do it that way. He didn't follow the rules. And talking with Jeff D'Onofrio, it's not, we could not abide by his protest. We don't need to, we could say, no, your protest is no good. It's just giving a lot of work to one company if we give it to him, Ferguson.
You've had conversations with Ferguson about this?
Yes. They're not coming after anybody. They're not gonna protest the fact that we're not accepting their combination. We said, if you're getting these two and you're getting those two, we're not giving you plumbing too. It's just putting a lot of eggs in one basket. So,
Do we have a motion?
So,
Dennis? Second?
I'll second J&B.
All right, any conversation, discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? 5-0.
next is 2.23 HVAC Mechanical. This is for Ferguson Mechanical Company, and it's 8942, and he is the low there.
Okay. We have a motion for Ferguson Mechanical Company, $8,942,000 for HVAC. Dennis? A second? Chuck? Discussion?
you sure P and D wasn't doing a combination bid either?
He did do a combination bid, he was just wicked high. Oh, you mean just here? Yeah,
Two schools.
he did do a combination bid.
Is that normally done, the combination? It seems like it complicates things.
A lot of times we get combination on plumbing and HVAC, and sometimes we get combinations on drywall and acoustical. It depends on it totally depends on the bidding environment.
But
If
it's a
people-
process that you allow and
Mhm.
that
Because it's kind of a savings, it's a, It's an
It just
efficiency.
seems like it complicates your job, though.
Oh, yeah, that's all the time, so it's doing two at once.
Okay, as you're juggling the different combinations.
One less sub.
Well, yeah,
It's one
Well,
less.
we all had combination bids to you guys.
Yep.
That's the way you structured the two schools together.
yep.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't know if we were going with one architect or two, yeah.
So, yeah, it's quite common with plumbing and HVAC, quite common.
All right, we have a motion, we have a second, Ferguson Mechanical for $8,942,000. All those in favor? Chris, you voted?
Yes, sir, I will be voting.
Oh, okay, all those opposed?
Thank you.
Opposed, okay.
That's the way the process usually works, isn't that the way it works?
No, that's, I'm sorry, I didn't know.
Are you doing
I
what
didn't
we're
know
doing, Chris?
If you were,
Chris,
that's fine.
All right, and then the last one for North End is bid package 2.26 electrical, Ferguson Electric Company, Inc., and they have their base bid of $3,942,000, and they are the low. And you will see that your original low, I never carried their number in the calculation when I presented this to you last time, that Wayne J. Griffin, they were very low, $3,250,000. And even the first time I presented this, they were nervous about that because Ferguson tends to be low, and they're 3,945, 48, 49. So I never had Wayne's 3,250,000 in there, and they have since formally withdrawn their bid based on our scope review and some follow-up after that.
Okay.
what does that mean, tends to be low? Do they not make
Ferguson
money
tends
on
to
the
be low.
jobs?
No, that's just how they
How,
roll.
Very aggressive.
how do they go about making their money on it if they, that is interesting.
Do we have a motion?
So curious.
2.26 electrical, Ferguson Electric Company, $3,942,000. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
So moved, Dennis. Second?
I'll second.
Was that Chuck? Discussion? All those in favor? I saw that. Okay.
All right, so that takes care of North End. This is where we're at. So game plan is starting on the 22nd, which is a Wednesday, Wednesday, Friday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So by the end of the first week of February, we will have to be done scoping everybody that's left between the two jobs. I need to concentrate on the GMP for North. I'm not coming back to get any more contractors approved. It'll be part of the GMP. Our bids expire starting on March 3rd. So that's why I'm gonna be under the gun to get the rest of these awarded so that nobody can say my bid is no good anymore. So that's my next concentration, get through these, I'll write a few contracts, but then I'm gonna concentrate on GMP for North End and try to get the GMP to you guys for your first meeting in February. So I'm gonna need that meeting in February, that first one. Alright, so that's
'Cause
North End.
that'll be the first one that we come up with where we said we would make a decision each time. So I'm
Right.
booking that in already.
Right.
So we have a meeting the end of January, we have 2 meetings in February. If perchance you need an additional meeting.
Yeah, it depends on how things go at that first meeting in February. If people are confused or do we need more information, we probably should try to fit a meeting in between there before the last one, because then you got 1, 2, 3, and then the bids technically expire, the ones that we haven't awarded yet. But hopefully, if I can get the GMP to you guys either the first or second week, way before your meeting, so you have time to digest it, then we can go through the process. But, so that's my spiel on North End. Flipping over to Norton, I need to pass that out now, right? So Norton is, so who can give these letters to Sean Kimball for him to sign? Who's gonna see
I
that?
can bring them to them tomorrow if you'd like.
You're not coming out here, right?
Tomorrow, no, probably Monday, yeah.
Alright, so let me pass out Norton. Alright, so Norton is just a few more than what we did. Again, it's got the 2 extras. But it's basically the same list of trade contractors we just went through. Now, Norton has changed financially since the last time you guys saw this.
Positively or negatively?
Well, you're still within budget.
It's negative.
It's a little, less within budget.
Should be a politician.
Terminology, like,
Doesn't quite answer the question.
You're still not red. It's not in the red. It's still a good thing, but it has changed. All right, so let me just give the 20,000 view of what's happened before we go through the individual contractors. So, what has changed? Those guys were all still the same. Star was there, Sentry was there. I think it was just our MEPs. Okay, yeah, last time. Okay, so now we have a combination of the plumbing and HVAC here. Last time we were showing Di Rienzo and, I can't remember who the plumber was last time. It was a different plumber, it was Enterprise, because he got on that. So, we have since, written a letter to Di Rienzo. His bid was non-responsive, you're gonna see that as backup in your packet. We've got the plumbing and HVAC for Ferguson, you're gonna see all the bids, and then you're gonna see our letter that we have sent to Di Rienzo Mechanical Contractor, who was the low HVAC bidder. Most of the reason was because he gave us a bid for 10% of a bid not to exceed $20,000, that was right on his bid bond. And his bid was for $7,171,857. Also, he has a DAS pre-qualification of a single limit of $5 million. And again, his bid is $7,171,857. We also did a credit check on him, not a stellar credit rating. So, we don't have the right to reject his bid, but the very last sentence, and it probably should be brought up when we get to Ferguson on this one, is it would be recommended to the owner that they reject Di Rienzo Mechanical Contractor's bid for the reasons noted above. So, it's really non-responsive because he didn't follow proper procedure for a bid bond. A bid bond is what happens when you as a committee, you approve his contract, and it takes a while to get the contract written, right? Meanwhile, your other bidders flew the coop, right? They're moving on. And then if something goes wrong and he can't execute a contract, the bid bond says, okay, 10% of the bid to help pay for the next bid. In other words, it helps make you whole again because he didn't honor his bid. So his bid bond's not even valid.
So his bond is less than what his bid was.
His bond is way less than what his bid was. 20,000, he should have had 717.
10% of the bid amount, so.
Yeah, so he can't even honor his bid to even enter into a contract. Not to mention the DAS pre-qualification was $5 million, this is $7,171,000.
You have reviewed this with our attorney?
We reviewed this with your attorney and our attorney, and they've seen this letter, they've both seen this letter. So, all right, so so that's what happened there. So Ferguson ended up getting, both plumbing and HVAC because your low bidder, Di Rienzo, we're saying is not, really his bid is not responsive. Now, also, who's not in your low bidder is Custom Electric. So your low bidder is A&R Electric, who, just flip right to the end. Your low bidder is A&R Electric, who is the first phase 1 electrical bidder. It's not the money, it's not like he left a lot of money on the table. I have copies of his bid that you can, I brought them with me. But
Who is this now you're talking about?
This is your low
This
electrical.
A&R Electric.
So let me hand these out, so I'll just show you the relevant parts so you can see it, and then you can read it on your own afterwards. The email correspondence is me saying, hey, what have you done? Give me some jobs that you've done, because you're gonna see, I'm gonna guide you to where what qualifies a contractor to us is their project experience. How many jobs have you been on? So if you go about midway into the form proposal, if you go to about page 14 of 27, this is his actual bid, this is what he gave us. So he's been around, he's been in business for 32 years, but if you see a number 3 list below construction projects, he currently has under project as of this date, and you'll see he's got a project with us, 2.1 million, electrical. He's got something that's 1.195, forget about the switchgear, that's the purchasing, and then he's got 1.3 million. And then if you look on the next page, 15, which is the bigger concern, is list below minimum of 3 projects the undersigned company has performed in the past 5 years, which are representative of this project and would qualify you for this work. and he has just the one job that, I don't know, I don't even know, I think it was around 5 years ago, 1.6 million. So,
Which was not a school.
It's
public
not a school.
right.
Right.
So he wants a $3.2 million contract. Again, it's not that it's wicked low, but I'm saying, where have you done a job that's similar to ours? The Henley Elementary is an addition, it's basically an addition, and it's a reno. It's like a alteration renovation. It's not a full-blown school. We need all your horses, right? We need horses, we need electricians, it's a production job. So I said, please, give me some work, and that's where the correspondence is in the beginning, we did this, we did that. This is just 2 pages, I need to know what you've been doing for 5 years. He says, I'm responding to your concerns was lack of projects. Well, we had COVID, so you have to go further back than COVID. So then they're telling me they did this $2.3 million job that was completed in 2012. And it's 2025.
Yeah,
They did something in 2014, it's
so he's
2025.
got nothing post-COVID.
And I said, please, give me something that you done. I said, give me your
That's
reference
4
to
years
this,
since COVID,
this other
so-
stuff that you did in mid-May. I said, what's the contract value? And he gives me that, and it's $630,000. So, we're like, you really haven't done anything of this size. And that's basically why we're saying we just don't really wanna go down that road. And I haven't, this was just made today, the decision was just made this afternoon, so I didn't have time to give him a letter to be able to show you, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna recommend custom. If you guys wanna hire him, more than welcome, we can hire him.
I make a motion for custom.
Oh, we didn't get there yet. That's the end.
All
All
right.
right, so,
Sorry for stepping
that's
up there.
okay.
Laura, do you mind if I just point something out in
Yes.
terms of the Norton bid results? The bottom line number that you're seeing includes all of the alternates, and in particular, the large alternate of bid package 2.02 abatement and demolition has a close to $1.7 million alternate. That is because we've asked for itemization of assuming the worst case scenario for PCB abatement and disposal with demolition. So that, unfortunately, that's not going to, we're not gonna know that until we start
Right.
taking the building
Right.
down, but we're holding that $1.689 million number to protect the town for the worst case scenario for PCB abatement. So that's probably where you
We
also
should be seeing a fair
notice.
amount of that coming back.
Well, I'm not gonna say that yet, but,
Our fingers crossed, but
yes.
You hope it, but you're not
You're not
counting those
gonna know it
chickens
until
till they're-
2026 when you're trying to
mean,
finish the building, so.
It's worth noting that the alternate number is almost the same size as the base bid number for the contract. The base bid for demolition and abatement is $1.7 million. The alternate number is $1.68 million, so.
And that's because it's the worst case of thrown away is a PCB's greater than 50, so it's gotta go to special landfill.
Yeah.
But we'll get there when we go to present that.
Was that based on 100% of the building, even the new part?
No, it's just certain parts of the building where they
Just
can
the
assume
parts that
it's-
were 50 years old or whatever?
Yeah, it's only where you have the abatement.
Okay.
Did they submit a new bond,
Who?
A&R,
Did he submit a bid bond?
a new one?
No, that bid bond's okay, he's well in advance, he's got 379,000, 10%, like his bid should have been 3,700,000.
Right,
He
so,
did the same thing on fire alarm.
so what bid bond is this for?
That's for his electrical bid of 3,250,000.
He carried a larger bid bond than he was actually required to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, no, you're looking at the
I'm
letter for,
confused.
you're looking at the letter for
Oh,
Di
got
Rienzo.
it.
You're looking at the letter for Di Rienzo, that's A&R, sorry. I switched horses on you. I do have Di Rienzo's bid with me, if you wanna
It's
see
like
it.
my wife.
I do have their bid with me, if you wanna see it. I
No,
can
no,
show
that's
you a
okay.
copy. Okay, so, I think that was it as far as what the switcheroos were. I have upped the CM allowances amount, you'll see down to $650. I'm also adding to my description, based on our scope reviews. May have a little bit of an issue dealing with the polluted soils over at Norton because of the phasing. We're doing all that earthwork when we're doing the new building. Don't have the front of the where the parking lot's gonna go to kind of dispose of it. I'm a little nervous about being able to lose it all on site. So in my mind, I just like figured maybe 200,000. So again, this is all gonna be part of the GMP, so you'll be able to review it and say yes or no. But this is, I'm just carrying it now just in case, as an aside. So anyhow, that's pretty much where we are. Again, this will be feeding into the GMP. This one will be a couple of weeks behind North End. But if you want, we can go through, start at the beginning, and we'll walk through the contractors like
let's do
So,
that.
before we do that, so if I read this right, we're $1.3 million under budget,
Correct,
and we still have contingency.
correct, all your
Oh, yeah.
contingencies, all of them.
Still have what?
Contingency.
A contingency.
You got the owners, you got ours.
If we gave you a GMP today, we would be increasing your contingency by $1.3 million.
Okay.
Yeah, cause we're gonna have the GMP and that's it. Anything that's extra goes back to you guys.
And there is the lottery ticket of the demo as well.
Yeah.
Well, we're thinking
But
we have
we're
the
not gonna
worst
know
case.
that Until the day we open.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's not like you can spend it at the very last minute. Or you could, solar panels, I suppose.
More playground equipment, doorknobs.
All right, so
There's
we'll
nothing wrong
start.
with
Cover
getting
the
to the
same
end and
cost.
saying to the town, we didn't need all the money.
Yes, that's true.
And you don't have to bond as much as you thought you did,
Yeah.
put it into the next project, you know?
Mhm.
So
We can
it's-
have Fred do some more lectures.
we don't have to spend every cent. Okay, so, bid package 2.07A, waterproofing, air barrier, and cement
Yep.
to Trinity Construction Group LLC.
You flip it over, it was the opposite in the other school. Armani's second here and Trinity's low, so they're each getting a job. You should be happy.
For $325,000. Do we have a motion?
So,
So moved. Dennis? Second?
What's that?
Too late.
Oh, you did? Oh, I didn't hear it.
Not quick enough.
Are you voting?
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye. That's my repeater.
Alrighty, next one, aluminum window storefronts, metal panels, 2.08, to Lockheed Architectural Solutions Incorporated, $3,783,500.
So they are low because the low numerical number did not include a bid bond. He gave us a bid, no bid bond.
Not to be stupid, but we don't have a in Connecticut requirement, right?
As far as like being located here?
Yes.
No. They have to be, anything that's worth over $1 million, they have to be DAS pre-qualified by the state of Connecticut. They can't come here and do anything on something over $1 million unless they're pre-qualified by the state.
so explain the bid one again?
Bid bond, as far as what it's for?
No, I know what it's for.
Oh, they didn't include it. They never gave us a bid bond for their bid.
The people on the bottom that were.
The low guy, advanced exteriors
Yeah.
and
Oh,
glazing.
got it.
Yeah. So they were not, so Lockheed is the lowest
The-
responsible qualified bidder.
Do we have a motion?
Yeah.
Dennis, second?
Oh, I'm making take the second.
Oh, I'm sorry. Megan?
Keep the minutes easy, Rich is doing double duty.
I'm writing stuff down quickly. Gotta recreate all this. All right, any discussion? All those in favor?
Interesting,
Aye.
Cherry Hill.
Where are they? Yeah, well, they didn't want it, I guess. They had just gotten this came in right after North End.
So did they know they were getting the thing?
Well,
They
they
were
were,
probably knew
they
were
came
low.
in on the 10th. So they knew, yeah, cause this was a week before and they were low.
All right. 2.09D, drywall to Century Drywall Incorporated for $5,889,000.
So
They're
moved.
the low.
So moved, Dennis, second? Second?
Yes, sir.
Any discussion? All those in favor? General Trades, 2.10, to lowest qualified bidder, Elite Construction Resources, for the bid of $2,114,985. Do we have a motion?
It's elite,
What?
they're elite.
It's not
What did I
Eli.
say?
Eli.
Elite? Elite?
Ouch. Gets written the same way on the
It's
minute.
Eli Construction.
They're elite, like they're an elite, you know?
So
Yeah,
is.
I'll believe that after they start working. So,
Yes.
Dennis. A second? Megan? Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
You had a crazy number of bids there, everybody wanted it. They all tightened up and all showed up.
Yeah. Food service equipment to Singer M.A. LLC DBA Singer Kittredge with a bid of $460,771. I have a motion?
So moved.
Chris? Second? Megan? Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Fire protection to HHS Mechanical Contractors Incorporated, base bid of $618,000. Do we have a motion? So moved, Dennis. Second? Megan? Discussion? Did you have a question, Dennis?
No, no, I was
You're all
just
set.
reading the wrong column.
Oh, okay. All right, seeing none, all those in favor? Okay, plumbing and HVAC, 2.22 and 2.23. Ferguson Mechanical Company Incorporated, with a base bid of $9,692,000.
Are we in a different spot?
No, because there's multiple pages.
Yeah,
so
I
it's
should have
a
did the
combined
same
bid.
Yeah,
thing,
add
with-
that
I
and
should
then
have
she-
gave you like the combination, yeah, you'd have to add these two pure numbers, the 2197 and the 7, well, you can't count him, you have to count 7592. You'd be adding 2197 to 7592, and that should be higher than 9692.
Which is the first page.
So this is a combination bid,
This one was valid the way he submitted it, it was no one separate bid.
and we're going with the low bidder. A combination bid is the lowest qualified bidder.
Yes, combination is lowest qualified. If you guys gotta vote, I think you guys have to vote to reject Di Rienzo's bid.
Hang on a second. If you did Ferguson, like the HVAC,
Mhm.
and you can't do enterprise for the plumbing,
You can, but those two numbers, I think, when you add them up, are bet bigger than the 9,692.
oh, so you're saying that the Ferguson, the 2327 and the Ferguson 7592 don't add up to what you show on this sheet?
No,
Oh.
there's gonna be a discount. That's usually why they do the combo, so that they give you money off.
Yeah, 969.
That's 300, almost 400 now. No, it's almost- Six grand we were mobilized.
Got it.
It's only 97,000, I think.
97,000.
I want to say it's 97, when you take the 2197 and Ferguson's number, because you can't count Di Rienzo's. Take Ferguson's 7592, and you take Enterprise 2197, I believe it's $97,000 more than Ferguson's combo.
we need a motion
I think you need
first
to
to
reject.
reject
Yeah,
Renzo Mechanical Contractors
bid.
based on the information as provided on the January 15, 2025 attached memo.
Yeah.
Yeah, make a motion to reject Rienzo based on the letter from ONG Industries.
Do we have a second? Chuck? Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Nice job, Dick.
So now we then come back to the combo bid. Ferguson Mechanical with a base bid of $9,692,000 for a bid package of 2.22 and 2.23 plumbing and HVAC.
So,
So moved, Dennis?
You gotta give the amount.
What's that?
Did you give the amount?
I
Yeah,
did.
I thought you did.
$9,692,000. Do we have a second? Any other discussion on these? Seeing none, all those in favor? All those opposed? Chris?
Okay, last, I didn't have time to do a letter to, saying, there will have to be a similar letter to this being sent to A&R Electric. It will be written differently, though, it will be more about how they have the lack of project experience, and that we would be deeming them not qualified as opposed to non-responsive.
I'll make a motion to reject A&R Electric based on the information showing them to be non-qualified. Did I word that correct, Bob?
Not qualified yet?
I said non, I know.
Yeah, not qualified, non-responsive.
Not qualified and non-responsive?
No. Just not qualified.
Not qualified, okay. So Chris has made that motion, do we have a second?
sure.
Dennis? Any discussion on that? Okay, all those in favor? Opposed, 5. So
Now
now,
we come back to Custom Electric, who's second?
I will make a motion to approve Custom Electric.
okay, Chris? And a second? Megan?
$3,470,000.
Yeah, I did, Custom Electric, bid package 2.26, electrical $3,470,000. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Okay,
So that's it, that's all I
Awesome.
have.
that's enough. Doing that.
Thanks, Laura. There's a lot of stuff you've been putting
I
together.
put a lot of work into this, yeah.
Appreciate it.
Okay. Financial procedures, we have no change orders that I'm aware of.
There are no change orders, although we do have we have a couple of expenditures that need to be approved or accepted.
And that's the builder's risk?
The
or-
builder's risk,
Yeah.
correct.
And I have sent an email out to everyone, we had to move on this quickly, I asked for some input. The only concern that was raised was from Greg, who was wondering if we needed insurance that would cover the demolition of Norton School. Still uncertain whether that's the case or not, but that's something that could be dealt with later. As I was talking to Rich, he said, you know, the builder's risk really is more a matter of ensuring your new building so that if something happens, said if, you know, we get some horrible hurricane and Norton School falls down, as long as it happens at the right time, that would be a good thing. But, so we do have, thanks to Vin and to Rich, a two different packages for builder's risk insurance. And speaking to Rich, he felt that it needed to be dealt with at two separate meetings, one to approve the builder's risk policy,
Right.
and then the second meeting to approve the invoice and the payment of that invoice. So,
Correct. So, these policies are reimbursable by the state. The process that we normally follow when we're approving expenditures is that we put it out for public, for public response, and we get back bids. In this case, you have a broker that works for the town and the Board of Education, and so therefore, there was really no process for bidding it, but the state still permits that. They still allow that this is a reimbursable expense. They acknowledge that, you know, you work with a broker, and so therefore, they accept that as competitive. So for the North End project, you have a budget of $200,000, and the price that came in for Builder's Risk is $112,272. We ask that the committee motion and accept that value.
to approve that policy
Correct.
and the amount, in the amount of $112,272. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
So moved. Chris? A second? Megan? Any discussion?
Can you just explain what the builder's risk policy covers, so everybody's knows?
Yeah, Mark might be able to elaborate more, but what the builder's risk is it's an insurance policy so that during construction, take this building for example, you have property and casualty that covers the building for any kind of loss. During construction of a building, you don't have property and casualty, you have builder's risk. So during the process of building a project, if anything were to happen, if there were a windstorm, if there were a fire, if there were something that were to happen to the process of construction, that would be covered. The insurance would then kick in, and it would have to be rebuilt, but it would be covered by that builder's risk policy.
It's really protecting the contractors is what it's doing, and the work in place. It also protects from theft as well, so you could file a claim against the policy if there's a theft on site.
Okay. We have a motion, we have a second. Any other discussion?
So how much is the policy for?
I sent you a copy of it, but here's,
Yeah, I didn't get a chance.
yeah, if you want to take a quick look at it.
You guys insured it for the full amount, right?
Well, there's, you know, a whole lot of different specific amounts depending, like any insurance
Yeah.
policy.
We gave the broker the cost of the bids that came in, so they were working with actual costs.
Yeah, and they had the dollar figure that we had used for the construction budget, but then
Right.
it's broken down into a variety of different
The
coverages.
coverage is based on the loss,
Right.
right, or type of loss.
Fire protective systems, $100,000. Debris removal, $250,000. It's all laid out.
Yeah, that's fine.
And Vin did review these and felt that they were, in fact, well, Jeff D'Onofrio had a chance to look at it. Laura looked at it, in fact, asked that we extend the date, because originally it was June 30th, and said, you know, really need to push it out to July 30th. So it was redone with a new date on it. So I think
Gotta
it's
protect
been.
that month. I got held up, yeah.
There you go. Thanks to the state. So it has been reviewed by everyone.
So if there is a delay, is there any policy then? Something gets
It
extended?
It has to get
If
extended.
we went
yes.
beyond
They'll
July
increase the
30th,
premium.
we would need to go back to the insurance company and say, we need you to,
Cause either
carry
way, it
another
would
month
either,
and-
it would either get extended or it turns into real insurance, right? At some point it turns
Well,
I don't
into.
think
once,
it's gonna-
once you have the substantial completion, it becomes real insurance.
It falls under the regular
Property and
insurance.
casualty.
so if you were going into August doing construction and we didn't have, then you would just have to go back to the insurance company and say, we
And
need you
extend it a
to
month.
extend the policy. How much would it cost us to extend it another month? What's that?
Or you asked about the demolition.
No, the demolition, Greg
Greg
actually
is.
brought that up. And that's, you know, a whole different question. The building should be done, you know, that summer. And then it becomes a whole nother issue in terms of the old Norton School. But it appears we don't really need builder's risk for taking down,
Builder's risk.
taking down.
Demolition,
Yeah.
demolisher's risk.
All right, motion has been made and seconded, all those in favor? And I vote.
Similarly, for the Norton School, you had a budget of $160,000, and the policy came in at $87,532.
A motion,
I'll make a motion.
Chris? Second? Megan? Any discussion? All those in favor? Okay. Alrighty, any other items? Seeing none, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Here, I'll look at his, that's been done from D as a.
So moved.
So moved, Chris? Second?
Second.
Megan? All those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.